So, why is this happening? Is it something you should be considering as well? We will talk about that and a lot more in this video. Guys, welcome to the channel, and as you see, more Americans are fleeing the country and moving to Europe, according to Fox 11. Now, usually I recommend my books at this moment in the video. I usually say get yourself to survival skills and surviving the economic collapse. These two will really help you get a lot better prepared, a bunch of practical skills. But in this case, I also recommend bugging out and relocating. Another book of mine that is based on a lot of research that I did myself before changing countries, and you can benefit from this too. It's maybe not my most well-known book, and for a lot of people it's a very difficult decision, but if you're thinking about it, bugging out or relocating, I strongly recommend it because I've done that. I've used that research from the book to find a place that was more according to what I wanted. And maybe that's what you need too, or not. That's also something that I explain. You know, I completely understand. And it's not the first time for me. Even from a very early age, as a kid, we moved around a lot. I lived in United States, in Argentina, and a bunch of other places. And it's something maybe I'm a little bit more used to than the average person. But then you realize there's nothing wrong in, yeah, I'm okay. I'm good where I am. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's not. And also, things change. Maybe they change to the point where you want to consider making a decision. Let's see what this is about, okay?
Coming that won't
pour into the U.S. Many U.S. citizens are moving out.
Number of U.S. expats in European countries is on the rise. Fox's Alex Hogan explains why an increasing number of Americans are leaving the U.S. behind.
Americans are moving to Europe in growing numbers.
It's the largest group coming that wants to relocate for a better life.
Relocation specialists say Americans right now are pointing to the same two problems:
Safety reasons and for politics reasons.
Our Boston market had a mass shooting. The local pizza place that I went to on a regular basis had a mass shooting.
Brian and Janice say they left their home in Washington, D.C. for a more affordable and safer life in Portugal.
I don't fear for my life here.
Politics back home.
Portugal is pretty solid, man. Portugal is hard to beat. It's super safe. It's still a very developed country in Europe, strategically located, like the closest to US you could be while being in Europe. Perfect weather, super safe, affordable, and the politics lately have been extremely welcoming for the digital nomads and these guys that want to be like nomadic or moving, or what. It is very, very interesting. So yeah, I completely see why Portugal is mentioned.
Home also came into play.
There's nobody good to vote for. There's nobody who's going to help the country.
According to Eurostat, the number of U.S. citizens moving to the European Union first spiked after the 2016 election. Relocation companies tell Fox that trend really kicked off in 2020.
We anticipate with this coming elections that it becomes even more, relevant for people to act on it.
People like Wesley Tan, who moved from L.A. to Poland.
Having the flexibility to be able to leave and move to another country if you want is very powerful.
In 2022, the number of U.S. citizens relocating within the European Union climbed by 28%. The majority of Americans are moving to France, then Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, and then Italy. But some smaller countries are making big waves for what they can offer. 79-year-old Linda Corin from Santa Fe, New Mexico will move to Portugal at the start of April in hope of a California-like retirement without the West Coast price tag.
The climate is
It's not just the price tag. It's not just about money. It's of course, yeah, and I've never lived in LA, never planned to, but it's also all of the crap, right? In terms of, and sometimes literally the crap of homeless people and drug addicts on the streets. You don't see that in other parts, right? Certainly not in Portugal, certainly not to that level. Maybe you will see some bums somewhere, but to have shanty towns built, it is insane. So it's not just about, it's a lot more affordable. Well, it's a lot more affordable, but the guy in the mansion that maybe costs $5 million in LA is living in a place, and he's overall having a worse quality of life than the guy in the $20,000 little apartment by the beach in Portugal, or little house. And if you want a little house, it's even cheaper in Portugal. You can buy yourself a little piece of, and maybe not even so little, like a sizable chunk of land with a building so as to restore it or just upgrade or whatever it is for very little money. So you can have that in a place that's much safer and doesn't have all of the crap that you would be dealing with in LA.
Marvelous, and the sea is even more marvelous. And so if you add all of that together, it's a great decision as far as I'm concerned.
So is the grass truly greener? All of these Americans say they do not regret leaving the country, but warn to not underestimate the culture shock and the red tape of moving. In London, Alex Hogan.
Yeah, London would be a perfect example of a place that I would not. I actually saw a movie yesterday with my wife. We went to the theater, the movies. And again, perfect example. You go to Portugal and yeah, you will have your movies in English. No problem whatsoever. They adapt and accommodate for that sort of thing, right? So it's not that much of a cultural shock, right? It is a cultural shock maybe if you're, man, it is difficult. Changing countries is never easy. It is perfectly understandable why more people now than ever are considering leaving the United States. I see this more and more. I see this all the time, but more so than it used to be. Now, again, if you are living in your family's ranch or land that's been in the family for 5 generations and you're great, bro, congratulations. Great for you. Maybe this is not for you, but if you're not happy with the situation in which you are, if you're fed up with, it's not just the politics, it's what's coming. I mean, dude, it's already been biting. They want to push this woman. I don't trust anymore. I have zero faith in what's going on, especially all over, but especially in the United States. I don't think it matters at this point. They want to make this happen, and I think they will. I mean, again, pleasant surprise if and how much could Trump change? Trump was already president. Did he make things so much better? I don't know. Definitely not this. In some of the things that Trump is saying right now, the things he's talking about going Milei style in reducing the government and auditing everything with Elon Musk, that sounds like a dream. Will he actually do that? Will he even win or be? I don't know. At this point, I would be wondering. And again, it's not for everyone. There's people that are not. No, they're not even. It's not even crossing their minds, and that is fine. That is exactly the way it should be. If you don't have any doubt whatsoever, then forget about anything I'm saying. But there's a lot of people that are, and for those that are, is it true that it's safer in our parts? Yes. Don't believe me? Look at the basic stats. It's considerably safer in a number of, and it's not just. There's a guy, a channel that I mentioned before. A cop from U.S. moved to Argentina of all places. I would not have made that move. But hey, again, super respectful of others' opinions, others' ideas. If I'm doing that sort of thing, Portugal would be a solid bet. Spain would be a solid bet. Italy, Poland, weather is not really that nice. Poland is pretty fucking based. If that's what you're looking for, and they're fed up with. You have a minister that's saying that he doesn't want a single damn immigrant in there, and they're not letting them in, and they're kicking them out. That's a country with future. Poland is a country within Europe that's doing. Oh, but they're in Europe in the same way that you are in planet Earth. There's things that you will have to deal with no matter where you are. But you don't have a wave of illegals crossing the border like it's happening in the United States into Poland right now. Poland is not putting up with that shit. Is it happening in our places? Sure. Is it being slowly reconsidered by some of these Nordic, very open-minded, very socialistic in their own way, which economically tends up to not be all that socialist, but you know what I mean? Those guys already said enough. Those guys have already said enough with immigration. Those guys have already said enough with transgender politics. They are ahead of the curve. So if you are considering those places, they have their problems now where it's perfect. But man, though, and You will not find a perfect place. No matter if you're moving to South America, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Mexico, Panama, freaking Portugal, you will. But there is there's a scale of grays. There's some that are very dark. There's some that are very light. You have UK, where has now become a tyrannic Sharia law country where you get arrested for expressing an opinion online or re-fucking tweeting something. That's not going to happen in Portugal. That's not happening in Poland. You won't be arrested in Poland for expressing an opinion online. You will be. And thousands have been thrown in jail cells in UK for that. So you see, it's not all the same thing. And by God, fortunately, those guys are not even in the European Union anymore. So their politics, that's all on them. Fortunately so. That was a great change. In terms of guns, there's places that AR over there, revolver over here. Those things you will not have in UK. Those things you will have in a number of other countries, both in Europe and in South America. Something that many Americans don't even... you can have... I thought we were the only ones that make guns and have... No, there's guns in our... but the Second Amendment... Well, you see how strange that is, right? How the Second Amendment sounds great and it's wonderful, but first of all, there's other countries that have constitutions. There's other countries that have concealed carry. There's other countries that have a lot of respect for people way beyond what you have in the United States. I was watching the video from Sean O'Malley, the UFC fighter, getting SWAT in his house. He had a great quote. He said, "I was free 5 minutes ago. Now I'm in the back of a police car." That does not happen in most other places, guys. Yeah, it happens in UK, but in other places, if you're getting arrested, if you're getting handcuffed, it's not for the safety of the officer or because someone swatted you or for whatever red flag or whatever bullshit or whatever this lunatic comes up with next. No. If you are in the back of a patrol car, it probably is for some valid reason. It's not simply because no one had nothing better to do that afternoon. So it's economics, it's safety, it's in many ways the political scene has changed into but America is a beacon of freedom. I've heard that so many times. No, it's not. It hasn't been in a long time, and certainly not today. What is a beacon of liberty and freedom? Well, most of the countries you heard mentioned, you have a lot more rights than in the United States right now. UK is probably worse than the United States. But I would rather take Portugal. I would rather take Poland. I would rather take half of fucking Europe over what freedom is these days in the United States, because there's very little of it. You hear the words being said, but when it comes down to it, the same shit keeps on happening that shows you that's not true anymore. So I'm not saying anyone move or not move. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that obviously have made the decision. I'm saying that if this is something you're considering, then maybe give it some more thought, and especially before things get even more, Anyway, guys, see you next time. Take care.